Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot. Third time's the charm. This is the third time I've recorded this video, so I'm assuming that it wasn't supposed to come out until today. Either that or I have terrible luck. So the first one had no sound. The second one I started to post and my internet service went out. So I kept the cards because they seem important and they make sense to me. So I was actually posting the night that Wednesday night into Thursday morning when Jupiter and Venus were exactly conjunct in Aries. And they're still conjunct. They're only 2 degrees apart. So I'm going to count this reading because it just seemed like the cards were telling me something. And then tonight we're adding in Venus is also conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, tonight at 14 degrees of Aries. So we have Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron all together. So of course Venus rules our relationships, and that can also be your relationship with yourself. Rules love and harmony and romance, and Jupiter rules expansion, philosophy, teaching and learning, and the future, being optimistic. It can also be a little exaggerated, like empty promises. And Chiron is the wounded healer, so it's the place in you where you are the most wounded, which oddly turns out to generally be the place where you are the most able to heal others. And so with Venus, with these other 2 objects, I feel like our feminine selves are very expanded, and I will show you what I drew, which is really amazing, because it's never happened like that before. So I'm going to start off with a quick quote. This is from Sue Monk Kidd, Kidd, and she said this, whenever new life grows and emerges, darkness is crucial to the process. Whether it's the caterpillar in the chrysalis, the seed in the ground, the child in the womb, or the true self in the soul, there's always a time of waiting in the dark. And I thought that was appropriate since we have so much feminine energy going on right now. And let's see, Mercury also just moved into Pisces. So we've got 3 planets in Pisces right now, or 3 objects. We've got the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune. And then next week, Saturn joins the party, and Saturn's going to move into Pisces. So we have a ton of Pisces energy. Pisces is a feminine sign and ruled by, who's it ruled by? Jupiter. Oh no, it used to be ruled by Jupiter. It's now ruled by Neptune. Its old ruler was Jupiter. But anyway, and I'm going to start out with a moon card, which I didn't do the first time. I hope this is recording this time. Truly, I hope it's recording the sound. That was so frustrating. I did it. Well, anyway. Okay. I decided to choose a moon card, which I didn't do last time. The moon has just moved into Leo, and it's a little bit bigger than a half moon, but we do have a fixed moon because Leo is a fixed sign. It says, hold your vision. I thought that was appropriate for tonight. Okay, so this is what I drew, and I haven't really been sitting around thinking about them because I didn't want to get all messed up. If I overthink things, it's not good. But this is what I drew the other night and tried to post, and the video posted without the sound, so I took it down. But we started off with the 3 of Cups. And this is a good card. It's a card of you've achieved a certain level of emotional satisfaction or stability. However, it's just the first level because remember there are 10 cards. The numbers go up to 10, and then we get the court cards, the page and the knight and the queen and the king. But we have 1 through 10, so we're only at number 3. But you know what? This is still a union. This is Eros and Psyche, the masculine and feminine, coming together, and they're celebrating because they have finally achieved some level of emotional unity. So you may not be feeling it, or you may be, I don't know, but you have achieved something on an emotional level that you may or may not be aware of. And then I drew the 4 of Pentacles. And this is a card of kind of a little bit of stagnation, especially on the material level. It's kind of where you are afraid of losing things, so you don't want to take a risk, and you're being a little bit stingy, holding on to what you've got. And Pentacles are earth, so this rules like things that are tangible that you can see and touch, like money and resources. But it's also, I find, because I also find that because Venus rules Taurus, and Taurus is about money and self-worth, I do believe that this can also be an internal aspect where you're not quite ready to give of yourself as well. I'm feeling that tonight, that this is more internal than external. So rather than being about money, I think it might kind of be about self-worth. I'm not sure, but I think so. And then I drew the Eight of Swords, and this is interesting because swords are air, which are thoughts, and eights are generally movement, but in the Eight of Swords, this person is stuck between two opposite choices, and he or she, I can't tell if I think it's a young man, but I'm not sure, doesn't like either choice. Okay, these are either the Harpies or the Furies, I forget, but this is not great. They have snakes for hair, they have bat wings, so you know that's not going to be a good one, right? And this is Apollo or someone, and he's angry. So this is mental, not only confusion, but mental distress. You might at this time be having a little bit of trouble controlling your thoughts. They might be getting out of control and just driving you crazy. And remember that Mars has been in Gemini since, I think, August. That's a long time. Or was it October? And he comes out of it in August. I should have looked. No, I think he's been in Gemini since last August, and it's like another, not too long, 3 weeks maybe. But anyway, Mars is in an air sign in Gemini. And again, air rules, swords rule air, air is thinking, so your thinking might be running away with you right now. And I'll show you that that's interesting later when we look at the rest of the cards. And then I drew the Hierophant, which he's the wounded healer. And normally he represents Chiron, but since I drew him on the night that Venus was conjunct Jupiter, I said that he represented Jupiter because he's a centaur, which is half man, half horse, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is the sign of the centaur, the half man, half horse. So I thought it was Jupiter energy coming in, and I still do think that because he's holding the scroll of wisdom in his hand, and Jupiter rules philosophy and higher learning and teaching and things like that. But it's interesting because now tonight, because my internet was all messed up, tonight Venus is exactly conjunct Chiron, and he is Chiron. So I think he's both Jupiter and Chiron. He is the wounded healer. And he's coming in to give us some wisdom, and you may experience a physical healing or an emotional healing, but there's definitely healing involved here, and something that you needed to learn that you're going to learn. And we're going to have a full moon in Virgo, and Virgo's all about, well, many things, but physical healing definitely Virgo rules. And I think that comes up on the 7th or 8th, and today is technically it's the 4th. I'm doing it the night of the 3rd, so, but it's after midnight, so it's really the 4th. So just in a few days, we're going to have a full moon in Virgo, which rules the body and health and all that kind of stuff. So then I drew the Queen of Pentacles. And she is the Queen of Earth. And this is abundance and material manifestation and being in control of your self-worth and what you own on a physical level. But for some reason, when I drew it the other night, it felt to me like watching out for your health. And I was doing it when Venus was conjunct Jupiter, which is a very auspicious energy. And it's really weird that this didn't post, and I had to do it again tonight when Venus is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, because when I was talking Wednesday night, I said, for some reason, this is giving me the vibration of self-healing and taking care of your health. So I think that goes double tonight because of the Chiron influence. So we are in control of, we have achieved something on a physical level as well, but it's an internal physical internal physical level, because it's the queen rather than the king. To me, it's a feminine energy, which is generally more internal. But again, I feel like it's telling you to watch out for your health. I just got that message, and now, as I said, we've got Chiron in the mix tonight in the sky. So then I drew the world, and this is the snake that eats its tail, Ouroboros. And if you'll notice, all the 4 elements are here: air, fire, water, and earth. This is completion. This is the ending of a cycle, but anytime a cycle ends, we have a new one beginning because it's infinite. That's why he's eating his tail, or she. So this represents something has ended, and we are literally going to finally begin to move into the new. And as I said, Saturn moves into Pisces, I think, next Tuesday. This is Friday night, Saturday. For you, it's probably going to be Saturday when you see it. We're starting a new cycle. And it's really, well, I'll talk about the full moon. I'm going to post on the full moon because we've got a really interesting full moon coming up. And we've got so many planets in Pisces right now. We have the Sun, Mercury, Neptune, and then in a few days we're going to have Saturn. We're going to have 4 planets in Pisces, which is, that's why I feel that I drew 3 I can't speak tonight. I'm going to blame it on Pisces. Okay, I drew the Queen of Cups, and she rules the water signs. And I should mention that the Queen of Pentacles rules Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and the Queen of Cups rules the water signs Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And again, if you don't know where your planets are, go to astro.com. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. You can get a free birth chart if you know your date, place of birth, and if you know your time of birth. That's really critical too. You can still get one, but you won't know what house anything's in or what your rising sign is. So the Queen of Cups is all about emotion. This is getting in touch with our inner emotions. It's a great time to meditate. It's a great time to lean into your emotions. And my only warning would be not to get swept away by them. This could be a really emotional time for you. And that's good. You need to feel those emotions. Just don't let them overwhelm you. But she's in command of her emotions. Her eyes are closed, and she's scrying, which is the old-fashioned word for, looking into a bowl of water and seeing the future. She knows. She's in touch with her intuition because she feels her feelings. And then I drew the Queen of Wands. I thought, oh my gosh, I have never drawn 3 queens before. And here we have Venus, who is, of course, the goddess, the personal goddess, and along with the moon. The moon is also feminine energy, but the moon and Venus are the 2 feminine planets. And we have all this Venus energy going on, and I drew 3 queens. So the Queen of Wands, she rules your spiritual energy. She's all about desire, your physical and creative energy. It's like the Kundalini energy that makes you want to do something, that literally like the fire inside you that just says, yes, I'm going to do this. And this is good. This is for standing up for yourself and being in your own power. This is a very powerful feminine energy that we have. And what struck me was that, well, several things, but what struck me is that the one queen that's missing is the Queen of Swords, which rules our thinking. And again, when I get the 8 of Swords, this tells me that our thoughts are running away with us. And so the only area of our lives right now that we do not have dominion over on an internal level is the Queen of Swords, which rules our thinking. So if you're going to have a problem right now, I feel like it's going to be with your thoughts. And you need to be very careful. Oh, stop focusing. Okay. You need to be very careful to try to control your thinking, make sure it's positive, and just try to settle it down. I feel like this could be a very jittery mental time for people. And again, I'm getting a really strong, even before I, like I said, a couple nights ago when I drew these cards, I felt there was a healing aspect. And now that Venus is conjunct Chiron, I know there is. On a very internal, feminine level, we are healing something. So, anyway, then I drew a couple of oracle cards. I'm going to use the same ones because they were so powerful. I might draw a new one for tonight. But first I drew the never-ending story. And this is a person who is in despair. But the card is telling you not to despair because the story isn't over. And I should have looked up this quote because I messed it up last time, but it's Charles DeLint, the fantasy writer. I love him. Well, I love his books. I don't know him, but I think he's probably a nice guy. He said something like, everything has a happy ending, or everything works out in the end. So if it hasn't worked out, it's not the end. And it's not the end. It's never the end. The story goes on. So if you're at the end of one cycle and you're feeling sad about what you've lost, don't give up, because we are starting a new cycle, which we have right here. So we have 2 confirmations that we're starting a new cycle. Okay, I don't need this hot water bottle anymore. Okay. Then I drew regeneration, and this is interesting because this is again starting a new cycle. So out of what was burnt, and perhaps you thought it was dead and it may be painful, new life is springing. And this card I generally associate with Pluto and Scorpio. Pluto rules Scorpio. But this is rebirth. So, the things in the sky are changing so much, and it's going to have an effect on you in one way or another. And I feel like it's a healing on many levels: spiritual, emotional, physical. It's all of them. And the only one that's missing, as I said, was the Queen of Swords. So your thinking might be trying to catch up with the knowing. And again, this, with all these planets in Pisces, it's more about your intuition than it is about your thinking. So go with your intuition. And I drew this card the other night, so I'm going to keep it because it came out. Crow Spirit. Co-create with Spirit. This is really timely, I think, because with all those planets in Pisces, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it represents oneness with Spirit. It's where everything comes together, and Pisces is the end of the astrological cycle. And then it starts anew in Aries, which is coming up with the spring equinox on like March 20th or whatever. And we have a new moon, I believe, in Aries right at the spring equinox, which is really, really cool. And the new moon the full moon coming up is in Virgo. I'll talk about that later. But so this is a good time to go into your flow inside and co-create with Spirit. And remember the moon card I drew tonight. Hold your vision. Hold your vision. And Pisces is nothing if not vision. It rules the imagination. Let's see. I am going to, because we have Venus conjunct Chiron tonight, which we did not when I made my first video, I am going to pull one fairy card, just one, since we have a new, aha, yes, perfect. We get the Magician. And this is the only deck I know of where the Magician is a woman, which I think is really cool. And this is all about manifesting. But again, you've got to get in touch with the inner before you manifest on the outer. There's not a lot of action here. So I don't think it's time to put your plans into motion, but it is definitely time to gather your energies, gather the 4 elements within you, your thinking, your emotions, your spiritual fire, and your physical energy. Gather them all together and put them in the service of one thing. Hold your intention. That's the perfect card for tonight. I'm really glad that I drew that, because that just makes sense. I mean, she's all about getting it all together and manifesting. So I hope this post tonight. I was so disappointed the other night, but maybe it was for a reason. Who knows? Maybe this is the perfect time. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Blessings to everyone. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and I will post again in a couple of days. And I'm sorry about the confusion last time. Thank you.